You're bound to find value in just about any model of the world.
The quality of your life is truly related to the rules you establish to obtain your values.
You just choose the model of the world that is more serving to you, the most serving to you. In this conversation, we explore the hidden beliefs, rules, and assumptions that quietly shape your decisions, relationships, happiness, and purpose. If you've ever wondered why certain patterns keep repeating in your life, this episode may help you discover the problem isn't always your circumstances. It may be the model of the world you're living by. Your beliefs and your thoughts, at their very core, they're influenced by this force, we shall call it, this influence that we call your model of the world. Today's conversation is centered around that notion, your model of the world. Let's start by defining that and do the best way that I understand it. And we'll make the point today that it's critical that you have a model of the world that you can support, that you can back, that you are also an actor in forging, in making your reality. Because whether you want it or not, you are living under one that you likely have not chosen if this is the first time that you're hearing about this term. So what is the model of the world in the first place? Simply, and Christian can also chime in here if I'm missing an aspect of it or if he understands it differently. But to me, it's the way that you ascribe meaning to the events in your life and also the way that you respond to them as a result of your understanding. So we undergo many things in life and we can go through the same event, Christian and I, you, or anybody else watching this. One thing that comes to mind, an example that comes to my mind is Mike Tyson. I remember reading the book by Mike Tyson, Undisputed Truth, maybe something like, don't quote me, but it's Undisputed something, his autobiography. And he had a really hectic life, as we know Mike Tyson. And I remember when he got imprisoned, or he went to jail or prison, but when he was incarcerated, he reported that as being one of the best things that happened to him in his life. You know, we have a tendency to go in the future, we can look back and say, you know, I'm happy this bad thing happened. But for him, even at that moment, he remembers thinking, this is the first time in my life where I can breathe. I don't have a filled calendar. I don't have so many people trying to get stuff from me. And whereas you can have another person who's being imprisoned, for them it's the worst thing ever. Like they're lamenting it, they're so revolted that they have to be locked up. But it's the same event. One person views it as a chance to breathe, another person views it as an end to their life, at least momentarily. So there's that. So how you assign meaning to the things in your life, and also how you respond as a result of it. Is there another way that you understand what a model of the world is that could be useful to somebody?
Absolutely. I think from a point of view, you talked about a narrow. It's becoming a pattern. Am I a global view of things in general? Have you noticed that?
Yes, you tend to be a big picture kind of brother, yeah?
Yeah, because everything you said, I agree with, obviously.
Yes.
But I think you've looked at a part of it. And I must admit, the part you're looking at it is the part that is pertinent for us right now. It's the part that is useful, you know, but it's not all. See, if I was going to talk about the model of the world is this, from my understanding, and I think it's useful for everybody to understand it, at least in a generic way, is answering the question that everybody has at some point, but we give less attention to than we should. How does the world work? So your model of the world is your understanding of how does the world work. Some people believe there is God and angels. Some people believe there is demons. Some people believe there is nothing. Some people believe there is atoms that appear. Some people believe we live in a simulation. You know. So how does the world you live in work? That is the model of your work, the world. Now, the model of the world you select to believe in, because no matter what you decide, you are living in one. You have one. It's impossible to not have one.
Yes.
Every model of the world has rules of functioning in it. And because choosing a model of the world is purely belief, is a selection. Now, if you don't do that selection consciously, you are living at the rules that might not be helping you. So the reason we are discussing this is, again, from our point of view, is because we know that every single human being watching us right now has a model of the world they live in.
Yes.
We also accept that too, that most people have no idea, don't know this concept, and have not selected the model of the world they live in. Therefore, they are living under rules made up by others and adapt unintentionally rules that harm their enjoyment of life. Why? So we are here today to inform you guys, as you're watching us, that we do have a model of the world. We decide that model of the world, and we go even further, a step deeper. We choose consciously with attention, the rules by which the model of the world we live in works. And once we do that, then we live the kind of life we want. We can rig the rules of the game for our own satisfaction. And that is what we want to bring. That is the hypothesis we're bringing to the table today. We're informing you that you can decide to believe on angels, you can decide to believe on devils, you can decide to believe on extraterrestrial beings. You can decide that your words create. You can decide that you can wish upon a star, something good will happen. All of those are correct. And it is unwise to think that all these things do not affect you and the way you live your life. And that is the crux of the discussion.
Definitely. And speaking of models of the world, an example that I can give you as well that's gonna come a little bit out of left field a little bit is, for those of you guys who have watched Game of Thrones, there is a story. There's a scene in that series that really marked me as I was watching it. Bran Stark, one of the main characters of the series, after he had fallen from the castle, if I'm spoiling something from somebody, I am sorry, but he fell from the castle. He's recovering. He's now a handicapped boy.
Yes.
He's on his bed. He has a they call them nurses, a lady who was watching over him, taking care of his needs and attending to his needs.
An attendant.
She told him that we were, if I'm misquoting this, forgive me, but the idea is this, that we, human beings, were living inside the eyeball of a blue-eyed giant. So to her, our life, basically, we're just tiny beings that live inside the eyeball of a blue-eyed giant. That's why the sky is blue. So somebody can grow up with that, and you believe it. And you believe it. Another person can believe in something completely different that does not even involve God. You can believe that you are God. You know, there are so many ways that. Would you say that moral of the world is also synonymous to worldview? I kind of tend to use those words a little bit synonymously, but
I don't want to say worldview. As you know, I'm a stickler with words.
Yes.
I've not explored that. I'm not comfortable with saying worldview.
Yes.
Because I believe that worldview is tied to your perspective in a way of the world, and I believe the model I want to make clear that the model of the world is deeper than perspective. It's broader than perspective because it affects you in a deeper way.
Your perspective is dependent on the moral of the world.
Exactly. So I cannot say that worldview is wrong. I can't say it.
Yes.
But I'm satisfied.
I see.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in any case, if we are remotely correct about this, this proves that, this makes the point that the model of the world conversation is absolutely critical.
Yes.
Because as a consequence, things that most people tend to value, and we're going to talk about values here in a moment, people tend to value happiness and joy and love and fulfillment and all these things that we've talked about also at length in these talks that you've been watching with us. If, in fact, your model of the world makes such a big difference, it means that you can essentially configure or shape a reality for yourself where you have more access to these things, where you can feel these things much more easily. You can experience them, I should say. You can experience joy more easily, hope, kindness, friendship, if you just choose the model of the world that is more serving to you, the most serving to you. So it goes, again, as a consequence as well, that you're better off choosing something a model of the world that makes it easy for you to experience the things that you enjoy. So that is what we're getting to in this conversation. And I also wanted to mention something that I look back on with fondness, because the first time that I was exposed to a model of the world,
oh my God,
I was not even aware of the notion of model of the world, that there are many of them. There is an infinite one of them.
I remember that.
So I remember Christian had learned this lesson way before me, and all he did was just share with me one of millions of different models of the world out there, written in the book. The book is titled Busting Loose from the Money Game. I remember I was coming back from my trip back home in 2022. I had a long flight in those brokey seats. Everybody, piled up like sardines in that plane. Ethiopian Airlines. Anyway, so Ethiopian
Pointing at
Airlines,
those people.
I'm there. I have a 15-hour flight or so from Dublin to the States, to Washington or Newark, or one of those places. And that book made the time go by so fast because I was so confused. My stability, my platform on which I stand to be stable and to be happy with the world was just ripped from
What is
underneath me.
reality even?
That was the first time that I was challenged in that way, that there is another way of viewing life that people have out there that is mostly different from the way that I was used to, and different in very key core areas. For example, God, in the way that I perceive him, does not fit that model. So I'm reading this book, I'm like, did Christian go dark? Did he become an atheist? Did he run into bad influences that are reshaping his mind in a way that is not correct? So it was a real crisis, but time passed. I acquired more information that we're about to give on to you right now, and I realized that it's only one way to view the world. And you're bound, if you're open-minded enough, you're bound to find value in just about any model of the world.
Yes.
That one I agree with as well.
Yes, I agree with that fact.
Yes.
And speaking of that book, that was the idea. That was the idea why it was introduced to us. The point was to shake us to the core.
Oh, he did that on purpose?
Yes. The point was to check us in the core so we can realize that they are literally working model of the world there, and you have to be aware. Understand that people are living by other rules, and you can gain from those rules. It's always useful to learn model of the world, but what is most important is to purposefully establish your own over
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Establish your own and the rules that govern that model of the world.
Yes.
You know, who is correct? Nobody knows. But I don't want to go there. But being correct, what does it matter in this situation? It only matters the experience that your decision brings to you.
Yes.
Really, in this context.
If your model serves you, if you're getting useful results from the
Yes.
model of the world, that is really what matters. So anyway, this is how we're going to do this conversation. We're going to talk about I think of them as the pillars. You know, our teacher has identified for us 6 different pillars that make up your model of the world. And in 2 episodes, or maybe even 3, we'll talk about these pillars and also other things, you know, where they come from and all these things potentially if you're interested. And if also we deem it worthy to discuss that with you. But today we're going to talk about 3 of those pillars that are foundational to your personal model of the world. And we invite you to think about them, take time to yourself, and to analyze each one of them and see how they apply to your life, and share with us your agreements, your disagreements, so this conversation can continue going forward. Okay, the first pillar that make up your model of the world is your global beliefs. So your global beliefs. What do I even mean by global belief? I mean those categorical beliefs that you have, those sweeping generalities in your life. For example, you know, Steve Harvey. I remember Steve Harvey talking. He used to be a teacher. Well, I still, you know, learned a lot from Steve Harvey because the man has accomplished quite a bit. But there was a time in my life where he was a really important teacher. I read a few of his books and I was watching a few of his teachings. And I remember him saying, it is impossible for a married man to have a lady friend, a female friend. That is such a sweeping generality. So it's impossible. Because to him, he is also known as being an expert in manhood. I mean, he's lived for a long time, so I guess he has some form of expertise, but he's a relationship guru in that way. He has a show people come and ask questions about, you know, relationships between men and women. So he was saying basically that if your man, talking to a lady, if your man claims to have female friends, that is just a bomb, a ticking time bomb that will happen, that is likely to happen at some point in the future. If there's a chink in the armor, if there's a crack in the wall, the brother will slither in there and do what he must with the lady. I remember listening to that, I'm like, wait, hold on, what? Tell me that I cannot have female friends? So I disagree with that notion vehemently in my case. But to him, he's teaching that to people. Now, why is that even important to mention? Because if somebody believes in that has that global belief, it means that in every relationship that you enter, let's say you meet another person who shares my point of view on this matter, that this is absolute nonsense. To you, it'll be a source of anxiety and lack of trust because you're like, okay, how do you have, it's my case, I'm a man, and if my wife comes in and she has male friends and a whole bunch of them, it causes lack of trust in me. I start to second guessing. I start to constantly, be unbelieving of the things that she's telling me that she's doing with these men, because I believe in my heart of hearts that it is impossible for an adult male and adult female to just be platonic friends. Yeah, so that is an example of them, and there's many other out there, and you have a lot of them as well. I wonder if you can also share some that you have, some global beliefs that you have that serve you, and some that you may have had before that no longer serve you, and you found a way to discard them. Do you have any such things?
What is serving you right now, I do have them readily, and those are discarded. I haven't thought about them in a long time because I discarded them. But let me share one. What I believe the most important global view I have about the world is that there is a God who exists, and for some reason that God wants good for me. That belief has served me in so many ways.
Therefore, anything that happens is for your good in the end.
At the end of the day, He's all powerful, and He wants good for me. There are rules that of nature that is established, yes, that I live by, but also that makes Him interesting to discover. I want to create an intimacy with Him, know Him, because I want to understand the direction I want to take my life, and I do believe that He made me specifically for a task, and the more I know Him, the more I know the task He made me for, and when I pursue the things I was made for, I'm more happy, I'm happier, I am more useful for the advancements of the universe. And every time I go against that, my life is harder and difficult. So it is incumbent to me to do my best, the best I can, to be aligned with His objective for my life.
I see.
That has affected almost everything that I do.
I used to have the belief that immigrants were not welcome in this country.
Oh.
Yeah. When I was a young pup and I just moved into the States.
Yes.
And the belief was, I'm not gonna put that person on the bus, but I remember the moment when that belief was passed on to me.
Yeah.
That, hey, listen, you're going to a land that is filled with opportunity, but those opportunities are designed for the natives of the land, the Americans themselves. So you are coming in to take away
To steal
resources that are not yours, and therefore you're not going to be welcome. But you have to work extremely hard to make sure that you change their mind so that you become welcome in their eyes. But even then, you will still not be welcome. I had that belief, and it did impact the way that I interacted with people. The friends or acquaintances that I made at school and all that. You just have this thought in the back of your mind: am I being viewed as an extra mouth in this country who does not belong here? So
That's crazy.
but I found a way to shed that belief over time, over the years, because it really, it's not true. And you'll find so many people out there who have this scarcity mindset and believe that there are limited resources in this country, and there's only enough for those who are born on this land. And yet, if you go back far enough, everybody was an immigrant of some sort. That's another story. But that is a belief, a sweeping generality, a sweeping belief, a global belief that I had that is no longer serving me.
There's a global belief that I had as well. Not too long ago, I held it, and I lived by it. To me, it did not hurt me much, but it did affect my life in ways, and changing it also affected my life in ways that are sweet. I believe that to succeed in this world, you have to be the hardest worker and work hard. There's no other way. Hard work is the way. I told you this is a badge of honor. I learned to work hard at things, everything, and that got me here, to be honest, And then when I learned that, just a switch of perspective. Nobody works harder than poor people. When that phrase was brought to me, it was not disputable. There is nobody that is working harder than a young father in the Congo who pushes. There are things that could be called charrettes. I don't know how to explain them in English. Do you know?
A wheelbarrow. A wheelbarrow.
Not a wheelbarrow. They are like those huge ones. Wheelbarrow. But it's like it would be like a wheelbarrow, but it's a huge one, like rectangular. You put 100 sacks of rice on it. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
It's incredible. I grew up watching these men. They will go to, there was this neighborhood in Goma where I lived in called B.E.E.F. And Goma was the business neighborhood. So people would buy gross products. It was a center to buy product in gross to go to retailers. I know this because I used to be a retailer back in the day. And we would go there. I was the one selling to the retailer. So because I was a reseller, basically. You know, but you see this one man, he comes, they call him, he comes with his giant thing, he's pushing it, he's on wheel and axle, quite big of the axle, heavy duty. He will put hundreds of sacks of rice, and we left to push it all the way from Birere to a store in Katindo, which was, I don't know how to explain it mile-wise, but it was miles. And
And it's
see,
not a motorized
No.
little. You have to
you
actually
have to
put
put in your
sweat.
sweat equity.
Yeah.
And usually they will have 1 or 2 young men that help them. So they're under training. You look at these men, they are built like bodybuilders, you know? And they do that every day. They will do 2 rides like that. And they're doing this hard work so that they can feed their family for that week. There is no prospect of advancement. They're stuck in a circular life where they are working harder than everybody to get a life without the prospect of moving forward. And this observation of this situation made me understand that the road for success is not hard work. That is a lie. It's not hard work. It's much more than that. There is much more than that. And I didn't know what that was. And I need to explore now. Now I felt naked and afraid. I'm like, okay, then what do I do now? If this doesn't work, if this doesn't really get me to my goal, what is it? What is this secret that people are keeping? And hopefully someday we shall share that with you. Or I shall share that with you at the League from who knows.
And this one is such an insidious one because it's hard to think of hard work as it's hard to attach any negativity to hard work.
No.
Somebody who decides, you know what, every waking second. It's funny that you mentioned this because yesterday, in fact, I was watching a short by Elon Musk, who was, somebody compiled a whole bunch of his sayings over the years and they identified 5 keys to building a great company according to Elon Musk. And the first one was you gotta work extremely hard. I'm like, okay, hold on, what is he talking about, here? And he relayed the story of when he was founding his first company that he exited with his brother. I forgot the name of the company, but
Paper.
in the early stages, he and his brother decided, we're gonna rent a little working space and we're gonna put a little bed in the corner. We're just gonna do hardcore. Every waking moment the brother's coding.
Yes.
Until it's time to go shower at the YMCA, and then comes back and continues to code. He's like doing that for 4 years or something. And you see guys, like the problem is this yields results. There's actually result that comes from this.
Yes.
And that one is a tough one. And people go years of their life sacrificing the parts of life that really matter, time with family, time with friends, enjoying your life, rejuvenating your soul so that you have taste in this life, only to go back later on in life and realize, you know what, all those years, I didn't have to do it that way. I could have done it differently. Yes. So yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Okay, so global beliefs is the first pillar to forming your personal, not worldview, but model of the world. What is the second one? We're gonna park here for a little bit because this one changed my life when I found out about this. Your rules and values. Your rules and values. This is the second pillar to forming your global, your model of the world. And let's define them first. Values, the way that I define them simply is what is important to you. That state of being that you strive for, the qualities of life that are extremely valuable to you that you're willing to forego money or anything else to experience those things. And there could be love for some people, could be friendship, could be happiness, could be all these things that we have that we really value, or health. Health is a big one for people as well.
Yes.
So those are values. Now, what are these rules that we're talking about? The rules are what must happen in order for you to experience the value that you have. So what are the rules that what are the things that have to happen so that you feel loved? If love is one of your values, what must happen in order for you to feel healthy? If
Yes.
health is one of your values, that is extremely fundamental. It changed my life quite literally, getting that information, realizing that, man, I have some hard rules in my life. I have some hard rules, or I had at the time some hard rules that made it difficult for me to experience what I enjoyed, what I valued most. And one of my values, for example, is also health and friendship. I value friendship. I value human connection in that way. It may not seem like that to people because I seem to be reserved and closed off to myself, apparently. But I value those deep connections with people. And I had a whole bunch of set of rules for what needed to happen before I felt like I could open up to somebody. So I don't know. What do you have to say to this? And are you also willing to share a few of your values, a few of your rules that you have to experiencing those values?
But this is important because enjoyment in general in our existence is very tied to whether our values are upheld, are satisfied or not. And these values are very dependent on the rules we create, as you said, for them to happen. And it took me a while to even understand this one, strangely enough. To truly understand it, it took me a little while to understand it. And it came, for me, it is the single best adjustment a human can make to enjoy their life better. Changing these rules. And here is the danger. Often we do not know that we do have rules for everything. We just think things are normal.
Yep.
I did not know that I had rules. I had rules to feel healthy. To feel that I'm healthy. Very hard rules to accomplish. To feel that I have to have a six-pack. I have to run a mile in under 7 minutes. All these crazy rules. What is this? And always eat completely clean 100% of the time. Can make you miserable about your state. The conclusion was, I truly will never be healthy, but I can at least try to not die quickly, to just survive. What a sad way to look at my own life. Meanwhile, even at the time, can you imagine if at the time I was in this state in which I am? At the time I was in pretty good shape. Training, boxing, and doing all the things I need to do, but I never felt quite healthy, which has nothing to do with those rules. So once I changed those rules, I was more satisfied. Now, I'm going to share rules that are affecting me now, right? So in the current stage, lately, I chose a point of focus. It was writing my book. And I focused on it, I finished my book. And now I knew what the next point of focus would be. So the period that I was writing this book, I was letting myself continue to heal because I had a lot of physical injuries that were stopping me from training. And then I realized that I had some rules regarding whether a training is worth it, the intensity of it. My entire life being an athlete in teams, there is something called related to intensity with training. You just go, you don't go there and just valangamp in grass, or just, you don't just roll and walk and call it training. You go is for an intense moment to put your body to something that will carry your mind, and you can say you worked out. Now, this very dangerous rule for what training is, it put me in a cycle of injuries. After a long period of not training for obvious reasons, I now got a problem with staying in shape. Why? Because every time Ben has observed this, every time we start training, start getting in shape, setback. It's because my body has changed, my age has advanced. I was not in the same point I wanted to be, but unless I had a certain level of intensity, I didn't feel like I was training. So today I made a change of rules. For me, training is no longer about intensity. It's simply about movement. As long as I do some movement, a progressive movement, I can count that as training, as moving toward my goal. So now I'm less stressed with the prospect of going back to training, because it was stressing me out. Because I knew, okay, now I'm facing this. I remember not too long ago, I got myself a punching bag at home and everything to go there. And once I went there, it was a long time since I done such a type of workout, because it was full belly workout by myself with a punching bag. Immediately I felt a pull in my calf, just from jumping ropes. And I had to stop. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I'll never get healthy. Every attempt is just hurting me. And I realized I was hurting myself because of my rules of what training is. You know?
Yeah.
So now I have a new rule. Every day I'm gonna wake up, the first 30 minutes of my day, I'm gonna be on a walk. You know, I just prioritize that, and then in the evening, another walk. You know, just ramp myself up, maybe play pickleball, follow you once in a while when you're playing pickleball, and go to the people who don't know how to play and play with them. You know, enjoy myself, a pickleball, until slowly ramp myself up. If intensity comes, intensity will come. If it doesn't come, it won't come. I'll just make sure that I'm eating right, and I'm adding these movements. Now I'm no longer stressed out, I'm relaxed, I'm actually looking forward to this prospect. Something I wasn't looking forward to. I was thinking of me getting back in shape as having to go through the initial 3 weeks of suffering. And now I won't suffer. You know, I can walk. And that is current in my life right now. So though I've known about this a long time, there were still rules in my life that were hurting me. And this opens my eyes to the fact that to this day, there are still rules that I need to dig in. I need to dig in and dig deep to find rules. And I'm telling you this to share with you that these areas of your life that you're not enjoying because you created hard rules, change them. You're the only one who created them. Nobody is forcing you. You know, the rules, for example, for young ladies, rules to feel beautiful.
Oof. Yeah.
Imagine the rules you've created for you to feel beautiful. And now you never feel beautiful. You hide your body. You don't feel confident when you go out because
any stretch mark is driving you nuts.
You've established incredible rules for you to feel beautiful. Change those rules. You decide to change those rules. And guess what? The rules you adopt are the rules that the public accept in general. Because if you come out there the way you are, confident, happy with yourself, you look more attractive to most people.
People will sense that.
But if you're hiding, ashamed, covering yourself up, and self-conscious, that will be felt as well.
Yeah.
So the quality of your life is truly related to the rules you establish to obtain your values.
I very much agree with that one, and I want to get a little bit vulnerable. But before I do that, one thing that I realized, and this one was just me just adding my own thoughts to this notion, is the fact that because we get to choose the rules that make us experience that which we value, obviously it makes sense for you to choose rules that are very easy, right? And coming to know that, I realized that a lot of my rules were people dependent. You know, I value health, for example, and if one of my rules is, you know what, I need to get a compliment from somebody. I need to impress somebody on the pickleball court, on the basketball court, or on the soccer field. I need to be one of those ones who's higher than everybody else, one of the elite ones. And that was a key. That was an indicator that I was experiencing this thing called health. That becomes such a dangerous game.
Yes.
So I've come to make another realization for myself in my life that the rules for me to experience the things that I value cannot depend on other people.
No.
They cannot depend on other people at all, because you cannot predict. You don't know what rules people have out there. So predicting how people will respond to what you show them is a surefire way to disappointment, to frustration, because people are just notoriously unpredictable for the most part. You know, the individual is, but as a whole we are predictable. But each individual that you encounter, they're not gonna value, they're not gonna have the same values as you. And even if they do have the same values as you, it's gonna mean something different to each and every one of us. So these days I'm really striving, and I have not reached a satisfactory level of that either in my life, because there's so many things that I value still that are dependent on some circumstances. So I'm training my mind to think differently, to view the world differently. And this is really a matter of practice. You know, as you reinforce that belief over and over and over again, it becomes your reality, and people can sense that, as you said earlier. It's funny, that is what I wanted to get to when I said, let's see, I want to be a little bit vulnerable, because one thing that I know that Christian and I have, this is a rule that we have many values in common, but the rules are different from person to person.
Yes.
We both value respect, and there's very few things that get in the way of our connection, our relationship. Very few things get in the way of it, as much as perceiving disrespect.
Yes.
Right? And that is the case for me and Christian, for me and the people that I
Most
consider to be my
men,
friends.
to be honest.
Yes, and my wife, and all these things. I'm like, man, what are my rules for me to be, to feel respected? And I started to realize I have quite a few things, and one of them, as I mentioned, being vulnerable a little bit, is I have this relationship with time that is a little bit interesting. This is maybe not the time to get through it at length, but as it pertains to my rule for respect, I feel disrespected when somebody is late to something that we agreed to without giving me prior warning, and they show up 30 minutes late, for example, like nothing happened. Hey, what's up, Benny? You ready? Let's go. I'm like, this person does not value.
If you lost your mind.
Does not value my life. This is the most valuable resource I have. Like, what? You don't even acknowledge this. You don't even say anything. We just move on like nothing happened. So, I am in the process currently of reevaluating that, because punctuality, in the way that I perceive it, is not even the same to everybody else, and the value of it is not appreciated by everybody else. Because in the end, we can still do that which we said that we would do. So, after a while, you start to wonder, am I not just whipping myself, lashing myself with this rule? Like, am I? Because I'm the only one who suffers in the end. So I'm starting to really reevaluate that, tying time or tardiness to my feeling respected. I'm like, okay, this one right here, and I haven't found the right wording, the right set of written rules behind that. But that is something that I know that it's time for me to change the rule for one of the rules that make me feel respected, because this one has not served me. This one has caused so much frustration in my life, in the life of the people around me, and in the end, I'm the one who ends up suffering more. That is a clue for me that, okay, something is not working here, and maybe it's time for me to tweak it and change it.
Have you ever wondered where that rule came from?
I've done this exercise, and the best that I could come up with is, I'm a structured person in general, and the people that I've looked up to growing up were hyper-structured as well. You get into their office, every particle is in the right place, and they value time. They're very structured. Their day is rigid. So I've looked up to that for the longest of times, and also it became to me a picture of what it means to be successful. A person who's successful, a person who achieves things, is a person who's able to manage their time well, to manage their activities well, to say no to the right things, yes to the right things, and for those things to be almost like a data. I view time as data points. Okay, this is how I allocated my time, and what is the ROI that I got on this, and they could always be able to give you a report. I had 24 hours today. I slept 6 of them. I did this, I did that, and as a result, this is what happened. If I want different results, I can change it. I can reallocate my time to do so. I've looked up to people like that for the longest time. This is the best really that I could come up with, why I value time so much. But yeah.
I mean, I agree with you that time is one of the tokens we have that we cannot really redeem once it's lost. Well, I mean, you're on a journey, do your thing. And because to equate success with that, there is a lot of successful people you didn't look at because of that. I remember in college, my physics professor, my goodness gracious, that lady first of all was a genius. She had commanded quite a bit of grants in research and everything, but her office was crazy. Every book since the 1970s was everywhere. You know, and she loved that environment. She's like, you know, I remember she's the one who we are in class, and she shows us 2 pictures. She shows us one picture of a very neat office, clean. And what picture of an office that has exploded? And then she asked us, which one of these has the most potential energy in your mind? There is one that is waiting to explode, is under such tension and stress that it just needs. We're talking about what's this thing of energy for the world?
Entropy?
Entropy, yes.
Yes.
We're talking about that. This room there is something is under so much tension. It can only stay like this so long without breaking. This room is at rest because this is the natural order of things. When I'm in this kind of room, I adopt the state of the room. I could relate, unfortunately. I am stressed. I'm strung up. I'm on the edge. I'm holding on to everything. And in this room, I am free. I cannot be creative and create. Yet, I'm related to her.
Yes.
And if you see my room in my workplace, things are free. You know, if it's too, what am I? Am I in the bubble? You know, so it's crazy that we have this opposite event. We are looking at the same event with the same, basically, how to be effective in work and creation of what we do.
Yes.
And we're looking for completely opposite side of the table, completely.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's just events.
It's just events with clear
People
rules.
just different.
With clear rules.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. And this shows how much they're just rules at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But they do affect us.
Oh yeah.
They affect our relationships. All of a sudden you feel disrespected and then the other person is like, I'm just 5 minutes late, it's not the end of the world. I peed later. You know, and why is this brother so upset about this? You look at you like crazy. And then you look at them, are you mad? You're late. You wasted my time. So I'm observing this situation, I'm thinking to myself, different rules for different things and clashing. And that knowledge also helped a lot of my relationships. Like, for example, my rules for honesty in conflict. My goodness gracious, I was a problem. I apologize, my people. If you're one of my victims, I say sorry. I have the ease to say things as they were, no matter the emotional connotation of the thing. There's not many people that's like that. Most of my life, when it was complete, I would say what I think, exactly what it is. If it's incorrect, I will apologize, clarify for me, but this is what's going on. I suffered for that many times. I hurt relationships with my sisters, my mother couldn't understand how I could be violently honest, you know, and about things like that. And I asked myself, is there another way to be? Do you want me to lie to you? You know, tell me the truth. That's what I want. I want you to tell me exactly the truth. If it's what I'll even tell you often. That was painful. I acknowledge that. I've always been comfortable with that. But I know it is what it is. I've learned, thank God, I've learned that it's not the way to go. I had to change my rules regarding that. So my rules for how to deal with conflict and I thought being honest and truthful and direct was a way of showing respect and regard to a person. You know, and if you're dancing around, you're being disrespectful and deceitful.
Wasting my time in my life.
Exactly. Annoyed me to no end. You know, and I'm realizing that, oh wow, no, those are my rules. And I cannot project these rules to others. So now, that particular event, that particular rules has taught me that to be aware of my rules and not projecting them to others, which brought a necessity for being non-defensive, learning to be non-defensive, because my perceived role was assaulted by a person who is not me.
Who has no idea what rules you have.
Exactly. So, and that's what I've been going through. And
Yes.
this is relatively recent, and it's much more difficult than you think. Our body, our soul, we strangely tell our soul how to feel with our mind. Now it's time to be upset. Now it's time to be happy. And then we are wondering, no, that just made me upset. No. You give yourself permission. You decide, you're the rules. You make the rules what makes you upset, makes you excited, makes you happy, makes you sad, makes you angry. So once you understand this, and you start playing with those rules, and also making sure that those rules don't clash with other people in your relationship with other people, the quality of life you live in general improves.
Your life is an individual sport, played better as a team. This is Grand Corps Malade.
That brother can write.
But yes, if I were to think about a rule that people have that is worthwhile really investigating and looking into, is about being offended, getting offended. We live in a day and age, I would say, that because of social media and ease of access to information, to the thoughts of others, it is so easy to get offended for most people. If somebody's just sharing their thoughts on whatever it could be, whatever divisive topic there is in society, around same-sex marriage, around discrimination, around politics, around who's the president, who's this, and it is very easy for somebody to pick up their phone, and this is how silly it sounds. You're having a good day, otherwise, your kid is there, your dogs are there, your family is there, you're having a good day. You pick up your phone, you're scrolling on Facebook, you read a little post, and that post has the power to turn your day upside down. I'm like, come on.
Oh my God.
Come on. So, I would urge you watching this to take the time to really think about what are the things what are the rules for me to begin to feel offended? What must happen for me to begin to feel offended? And I really believe that for most people, those rules don't serve them, and they're so easy to check the boxes on those rules. And then all of a sudden you're just offended so easily.
Yeah. Can I take that a bit further?
Yeah.
Strangely enough, I'm noticing I'm a global person. In a more global way. I was looking at this. A very important realization that I've made was that emotions are more transmittable than microbial disease.
Okay, go on.
Like, we can spread a epidemic of emotion faster than a virus can spread. And this is useful sometimes because a lot of the enjoyability of life as human being comes from adopting different emotions in different areas. That's why we love football matches. We go there. Today I'm looking forward to watch Congo destroy Colombia. I'm invested, fully invested. I know a lot of my fellow Congolese are invested in this endeavor, and that will make our life better together collectively as we enjoy or despair into this game. So, part of the reality of humanity is exchanging emotion with each other.
Okay.
It's word communication that we cherish and we need. I'm writing a book, as I'm writing this story. My hope is that I want to pass on to you a certain emotion that will put you in a place to think of a certain thing that will better your life, that will make you think of, of your parents, of your siblings. I want to have that ability, and it's very useful.
Yes.
We need it. Even in movies. We want movies to make us feel.
Hey, the whole theater is sharing a tear.
But there's a problem with that. The problem with that is that is a back door into our soul code. It means that everybody with the ability can make us feel however they want if they're good enough at doing it.
Okay.
So now we're in danger. We are in danger because all these things that we explore in the world, that is happening in the world, most of it is with design for people with purposes. And they figured out how to use the masses by creating emotional trapdoors. Because emotion rectifies behavior. And sometimes we even judge behavior based on the emotion of the person who exhibited that behavior. And we give them value or not. No. You know what? Christian was being emotional. So that behavior, it don't annoy me, I want to let it go. Or I was under emotion. That's why I spoke to you that way. We know to understand that being emotional causes us to behave not in the most useful ways in general. And we fail to understand that sometimes emotion can lead to destructive values and belief, even erode the quality of our lives. So when you talk about offended, I'm saying that is just one of them.
Yeah, agreed.
There is angry, things that makes you angry. Even things that makes you happy could be dangerous. What makes you happy? Where is it coming from? Who is this person sharing these things for you to make you happy? Who did they want? Have you questioned that before? What are they trying to do for you, with you? The kind of chemicals they put in the foods You look at the list of the chemicals in a burger, and the burger has 500 ingredients. Why is that? It's very delicious. It makes you happy. Why? What's happening behind that? Why not just chicken and salt? You know? So this spread in multiple areas of our life. And I'm not talking just practically that way. I'm talking about relationship with friends, communication with our employers. We are in a world that has discovered a back door to our soul through something very useful, emotions. But now we need to establish the proper filters, the proper rules.
Yes.
You know, we need to create rules for that. So when we talk about this is important because you need to look where you have to create rules. And one of the rules that I've created for this specific thing is always to give myself time. That is one. And second, to be not judgmental about myself. At times, I will act or say something out of emotions, but everything that I said or decided during an emotional time will be examined at a later time. I always do this. And then it will be ignored or it will be adopted. You know, a rule that helps me.
Yes.
You know, and there is many rules that way to do. You can do, but awareness is more important. So I guess this is for awareness. Be aware of this.
It's just dawning on me right now that one of my highest values in life, for lack of a better word, I would call it godliness, right? I'm a Christian through and through, and I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
And even that is a value that has rules to it.
Yes.
What must happen for me to feel closer to God? This exercise I haven't done, strangely enough. I don't know why it's coming to me right now. And I know for a fact that at many, many different times, I've said, I do not feel close to God right now.
Why?
I do not, all these things. And it's a value like any other value. It's the most important one to me, for sure. But I need to evaluate when I'm allowed to feel close to the Creator, who's everywhere and in everything. And yet I feel far away from Him at times.
And is that crazy? He lives in you.
So,
He's there for you, protecting you at all times.
So
whether you're being good or bad, it's not like Santa. He's present.
Yeah.
And yet you cut off a connection to Him based on rules. And I'm talking to myself here as well. Based on certain rules. And the rules are different.
Yes.
I remember I had a series of mornings where past my normal morning generally, they involve a bit of Bible study, the reading of the word, they involve some worship, they involve some prayer. And I did not have the desire to open the Bible for a while. But I did everything else that I do. And I felt guilty, like I was cheating God of something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I thought about this very morning as I was reading the book of Psalms, but that is something else. Let's not get into that. But I've learned that was a ridiculous rule. What do you mean? I spent 2 hours worshiping, walking, doing other things, just by myself, listening to this music and thinking of Him, and thinking, why am I guilty that I did not read the Bible? Why is it that this makes me feel far from the Father or less than?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So the conclusion is, at least for me today, what I've learned is that I need to sit down on the table again and try to figure out other areas of my life where I need to remake the values and the rules to enjoy my life.
And to engage in that battle of reshaping your mind.
Which takes time. Quite some time.
Which does take some time. But I think we've expanded quite a bit on rules and values as a second pillar for forming your model of the world. Let's discuss the third and last one for today, and we'll continue on with the other 3 in the next episode. And the third and last one for today is your top 2 needs. A few talks ago, we introduced to you the 6 needs of the human. 4 of them being the needs of the ego, and 2 of them being the needs of the spirit, or the needs of fulfillment, however you want to put it. And just a quick recap, the 6 needs are as follows. We all have a need for significance, and we also have a need for love and connection. We have a need for variety, and we also have a need for certainty, right? And the last 2 needs, the needs of fulfillment or of the spirit, are the needs for growth and contribution.
Yeah.
This one, Peter Sage made the case that so many people out there have as their top two needs out of these six being certainty and significance. And according to him, it's maybe the worst combination of all. So somebody who's guided by those two, you're bound to, I mean, you're looking for certainty in a world that is uncertain at every turn.
Yes.
And you're looking for significance, whereby what it actually takes for you to feel love and connection is to be insignificant in that way, to be united with the others instead of set apart by yourself. So to him, those two are ingredients for you to feel unfulfilled, unhappy, and to chase an unattainable result for the rest of your life. Do you even agree with that? And what do you offer as an alternative, I guess?
To be honest, I do agree with that in a way. I don't think I understand it fully, but I agree. I agree, especially because I know that, strange enough for me, my two highest needs of the ego after observation for a long time, because I had to go through this with multiple people. It was an entire thing. Are significance and uncertainty and variety. Those are the two. Like if I tell somebody who know me, they will not be surprised. You know? So I didn't fit in the magical combination in some way. So I should be grateful for that. But I agree. It can be very distracting because significance, depending on how you're looking for it and where you're looking for it, can be very harmful to yourself, can be very harmful to relationships. So I understand how destructive it is. And if I'm going to give the alternative is not what I give. Is the alternative that I believe to be there is pursuing the needs of the spirit, really. Growth and contribution. And I found quite liberation in that, because when you are pursuing growth and contribution, I found that my need of significance has been fully satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, so
by contributing, yeah.
Yes, by contributing, I feel significant and in the most positive way. So that has been satisfied. Variety that comes with the battle of the day. As we go through life, you know, this variety there. So I would say that as an alternative is to focus on contribution. And we've talked about this enough, so I'm not going to go there in detail. We in past episodes we talked about these needs. So yeah, I would say focus on growth and contribution.
So yes, of the six needs, you tend to have two or your top two have a dramatic impact on your model of the world. And what does life even look like for somebody, let's say somebody who has uncertainty as one of their top needs? You know, what does life even look like for that person? Well, a person like that, I would argue that the person like that is far better prepared to live in the world, because you're going to find uncertainty everywhere. So there's that. But also I imagine such a person shying away from any sort of stability. Maybe I'm exaggerating here, but if that becomes what you pursue above all else, that if something has any form of stability, you feel like it's robbing you of life. And yet, there is a need for stability in many things. If we're talking in the context of business, for example, going for the most uncertain, crazy ideas, you know, new way of eating, I don't know, I'm just coming up with things on the fly right now, it's not always the way to go. So there's a balance there that is important. And these six needs, we all have them. So there's a sweet balance, a sweet Goldilocks zone for all of us.
Yeah.
Though we also strive, just like Christian, I strive to have the need for growth and contribution as the top needs that I have, because they tend to also fulfill the rest. I agree with that as well. But yeah, you know, you can look at your life and observe what needs that you have tend to be more predominant over everything else. I know, for example, me as well, though I've been working on this for a while, I came to realize when I found out about the six needs, I had a huge need for significance. That was by far the top need on the ego side. Like, man, I've desired to be significant my whole life. I've desired to be a hero. I've desired to be, and all those under the guise of good things.
Yes.
You know, I don't want everywhere that I go for people to bow or anything crazy like that. But I've desired for the longest time to be part of the change, part of the big decision making, the things that move the needle, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that is vanity as well. You know, if my country, if in my country everybody who can work, everybody who's willing and able to work has work and is able to sustain their family and provide for them, even if I had nothing to do with it,
Let it be so.
let it be so.
Yeah. That is interesting. I mean, I can talk about people that are interested in significance, people that are interested in the variety or uncertainty. I mean, I wouldn't say that we're allergic to stability. It's not that. We're allergic to boredom and repetitive, monotone things. The idea of I remember when I left college, if getting a job was such a need for me. First, there was a time clock going with the U.S. immigration. I need to find my job or I need to leave the country. There's that one. But this was the combination of things. I live from the perspective of my parents and everybody, of all the sacrifice and the hard I've done in life. Finally, I'm rewarded with this work. Right? And I get a job. It is jubilation. And I'm starting my work. And the first day is exciting, it's challenging, I don't know what's going on. I go there and I am a great employee because I'm curious, I want to know everything. But the thing is, when you get a new job, that period of having to learn everything is not very long, especially if you're very good at learning new things.
Yes.
You know, and then 1 month, 2 months, 3 months in, there is no corners to look anything in anymore. I'm now repeating this boring cycle, and waking up in the morning feels like hell. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna look at the maps of the city, find utility marks, send it to engineer. What is this? Is this what my life is gonna be? And I'm getting handsomely paid for this. For me, nonsense, you know. And all of a sudden, the temptation is to just quit and never come back, and distract my life, so I can have something else to pursue and look at. You know, so I would say, if you're really an uncertainty kind of person like me, you want to try entrepreneurship, you'll get slapped straight away.
But I think this presupposes the extreme.
Yes.
If uncertainty is your top need, I guess the way that I view that, because it's useful to me to make sense of it in my head if I push it to the extreme, is a person who cannot sit here still and just enjoy the sunset.
Yeah.
You have to be jumping out of airplanes every other day. You have to be, teetering with life and death in order for you to feel fully alive. That's really the way that I view
That's crazy.
a super uncertain person. That is your top need. Nothing. I don't care that I grow. I don't care that what are these things anyway? I want to live on the edge.
We only live once.
Yes, that's the way that I view it. That is a tough way to live in some way. I mean, tout excès nuit, as they say in French. So any excess is not to be sought after. But yes, your top two needs have a huge role to play in what your model of the world looks like. So I think that's it. I think we've circled the block. We've talked about the 3 pillars that make up your model of the world. We've talked about your global beliefs. So those categorical beliefs that you have about life, all men are cheaters or all women are kind, or
Indeed.
all these things.
You know what, Ben? I'm in the mood to do the summary.
Oh, please, go on.
All right, gentlemen, ladies, listeners, whomever you consider yourself to be. Today we are talking about something that is important. Is something called the model of your world. Why is that important? It's because whether you know this or don't know this, you have one and it's affecting you. You might as well have one that you understand, create and choose so that you might lead a life you want to live. We discovered that there are a few things that determine the model of your world, because we're helping you discover what is the current model of your world and guide you toward the model of your world that you want and choose. The first thing we talked about was your global beliefs. What those are general beliefs you have about how the world works. All men are sexists, for example, will be one of them. All men are protectors will be another one of them, depending on who you are and what you believe in. Or all animals carry diseases will be one of them. So all sorts of global beliefs that will push you to avoid an entire gender, an entire race
Category,
of animals,
yes.
a category. Those are global beliefs. So you need to look at your global belief and determine whether those ones are serving you or not, because they're one of the pillars that help you that guide Others solidify the model of the world you live in. So that is one. The second, we talked about values and rules. What are values? Values are the things that, if I'm going to put it simply in my way of looking at the world, the things that, when satisfied, makes you feel like all is right. You can have values for religion or for where we come from. You can have values for kindness, values for protection, and everything. And those values are satisfied based on certain rules. So you make those rules. What is my value for me to do? One of my values is to live a happy life. But what are the rules for me to be happy? Now, we tend to create impossible rules to obtain our values. Hence, we live a life of constant pursuit and agitation on our way to those values. I tell you, friend, chill. Choose rules that makes it easier for you to experience the value. If one of your values is to be respected, maybe look at the rules that make it easy for you to feel respected. If one of your values is you really want to feel appreciated and loved by others, change the rules to make you feel appreciated and loved by others. If one of the things you desire is to be considered beautiful and to feel beautiful in your body yourself, change the rules for that. Same goes for health. And then, what do we talk about here next? We talked
Last thing was your top two needs.
Your top two needs, yes. And this one, I won't go deeper because we read the entire episode about it. We talked about what are your top two needs, because your top two needs help you make this decision. Your top two needs are often responsible for the rules you create to obtain your values. So look at them closely, and we advise you to switch them if possible from whatever they are, from the needs of the ego to the two needs of the spirit that we know now to be growth and contribution. There is more to come on this subject, and we shall see you when we see you to talk about them. But to end this, I'm gonna say, ladies and gentlemen, we need your help. Click like and subscribe because it helps us grow, and we need to go to produce something that is much more better, much more enjoyable for you, and we cannot do that unless you help us. This was B.E.E.F, brothers enjoying endless favor. Until we see you again, we bid you goodbye.